NLP and design thinking. How many of you know design thinking? How many of you here know or have heard about Neuro Linguistic Programming? Okay. So what are you here for?
How does the two work together?
How do the two work together? Any other expectations? We'll be spending an hour together, so good to try and see if it makes sense. Okay. So yeah. What are you here?
To character about and we just heard about it.
Okay. To know NLP better. You just that's already NLP in practice, right? That's already NLP in practice. Anything else? Any other expectations? Saturday morning, beautiful weather. Okay, you can have a cup of tea and sit in a bed or book, but you still take the effort to come down the line, all the way down here. Any other reasons? Any other thoughts you have?
I've taken a cursory look at Neuro Linguistic Programming. I don't know much about it, but I think something about neuroplasticity is that touched upon.
Okay, plasticity, neuroplasticity. Yeah. Isn't it always good to start with a blank, with an open mind, they say, which means blank set. So, hope that's what it is. So my journey with design thinking started sometime about 2016 when we started working with Manoj, started working with a few other people, and then I myself went to NID and did a 5-day program on design thinking. It was about 2016, 2017. Around the same time, okay, I also started got introduced to NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming. Now that was not by design, or at least. Not the element of design which I have still found out why, but it was almost at the same time that I got introduced to Neuro Linguistic Programming. We've done a lot of things on there, over there for the last 2.5 years. And while we were doing both things, that's when I began to realize that it's so beautiful character. Because if you look at design thinking, what is design thinking? What is design thinking? You have to put it in a single sentence. What would be design?
Thought for user and the usability of anything.
Any more definitions?
Creative way to solve problems.
Creative way to solve problems. Whose problems?
Any problem, whether it's user, business, product.
Also family problems.
So it's about, as they say, design thinking is an approach. If you look at what most of the sessions do, is a problem-solving approach to solve human-centric users. Okay. So essentially, the user or the human element becomes critical to. And why is suddenly becoming so popular in the last 3-4 years? Okay, it's been in existence about since 1960. But what has made it so such a buzzword, and everybody wants to talk about that? What do you think, according to you, is that been the reason why design thinking is talked about so much? Why things are becoming complex today in the essence of time? Okay, is the rate of change that is happening in the world. It's an unprecedented rate of change. Has anybody ever seen a rate of change? And I'm sure a lot of youngsters here, but Sir is also there, been there. Have you seen this kind of a rate of change, whether it is in technology, whether it's in user preferences, whether it is in terms of the way things are moving? It's unprecedented. So what happens when change happens? What happens when change happens?
Resistance.
Resistance happens. You try and test it ways don't work. Essentially, okay. So we always had what do you can say, problem solving techniques were always there. Why suddenly this is becoming important? Because change, it's becoming, if you see what are some of the words that are being sort of bandied about today? Okay, and one of the words which everybody talks about today is about. So if you have to come here to this venue, you have a Ola or a Uber. How do you decide Ola or Uber? Cost, availability, previous experience. And what does previous experience consist of?
Service.
Quality of service, quality of car, service car, etc. Stability and
Safety.
safety, security. All of this would determine what? Your experiences, right? So now you see the challenge in an economy which is becoming increasingly digital. Okay. If experience determines, and how easy it is to move from an Ola to a Uber or Uber to a Ola? It's just an app, right? I have 2 apps. I decide one bad experience, next time I decide Uber, till I have a bad experience, then I go back to Ola. And same thing applies for a Flipkart or an Amazon or a Myntra or a Jabong or whatever that is. So same thing applies. So number one, choice to me today is change is very easy. I can shift very easily. My experience differs from person to person. Not only does it differ from person to person, but for the same person, in different times it is different.
Depend on the context of context.
Different context. Now imagine I have to design services and products for experience. With the normal problem solving techniques of TQM, Six Sigma, all of them become effective. Essentially, I'm talking about something which is different for different people, and even for the same person, in different context is different. Makes sense. And that's when people started to talk about, and that's when design thinking. It started with products, but now it's being talked about, it's a product or service. We're talking about design thinking. But who is at the center of design thinking? What do you mean by experience? Design. Yeah, but what do you mean by a user experience? Experience is essentially human. Essentially human, right? And what do you mean by experience? How do you define experience? Huh? Emotion. Good or bad is my definition. I attach it that good or bad. You also have good experience, bad experience. So experience has to do with emotion. What is experience?
Story.
Story. What is a story? What do you mean by story? Story is experience, or stories give you an experience?
Story gives you.
Gives you an experience. Okay. So it contributes to experience. So we are talking about a human-centric approach. We are talking about designing an experience, but understanding experience is not easy. Understanding a human being is not easy. And we get into doing design thinking without understanding some of this core area. So what NLP helps is to decode and decipher some of these things. So I want to spend today time, because if you look at design thinking, what is the first step of design thinking for those who understand design thinking? What is the first step? Empathy. What is empathy? What do you mean by empathy? Putting ourselves in other shoes. Okay. That's always, every single session I'm done, you ask somebody to define empathy, that's always the first answer. Always. Okay. What does that mean? What does that mean if you decipher it a little bit? Yeah.
So you are actually putting yourself into the context of the.
Into the context, into what else? Should will mean what here? So what is the context from a human being's perspective? Because you are talking essentially about solving human problems here, right? In design thinking. What would a context comprise in a human context?
The space around him, the amount of interaction that we have.
Space, mindset,
Situation.
And what would be a mindset? What comprises mindset?
Beliefs.
Beliefs,
Value.
values, or thoughts, feelings. This is what makes us human. Makes sense? So if you understand some of these elements, and then, so empathy is about putting ourselves in somebody's shoes, which means trying to understand what a product or service means for the other person, for the user here. If you say, let's call user as a user. So what a product or service means for somebody else. And what it means for us will depend upon some of these elements. So let us say how NLP helps us and understand our process of meaning, our process of how do we create our experiences. Does that make sense? So what do you mean by make? So when it makes sense means what happens? I'm getting sense means what? Make sense means what?
So you see the same thing, and two people can interpret it differently because of their beliefs.
Okay. Good. Should you be happy if something makes sense? Not always. Why?
There's a real opportunity lies in something that doesn't make sense.
Real opportunity lies in something. What opportunity lies in something that doesn't make sense?
To explore.
To explore. Okay. Because what makes sense and what doesn't make sense comprises the entire ecosystem. And all of us want to expand ourselves. To expand ourselves, we have to try and connect with something that doesn't make sense. But what generally happens when we see something that doesn't make sense? What happens to you? And it's a question for you. You don't want to choose to answer, not answer. But is that how you approach anything that doesn't make sense?
Close your mind up.
Something that makes sense, generally it doesn't make sense. I don't think it makes sense to me. That's generally an approach when we hear something else. So design thinking is really important. For any design, for anybody who's into design, who is wanting to expand self, making sense. So who is a designer? Who designs? Who designs? Of course. Of course. Perform. Yeah.
Like designs.
Yes.
I would even say that there need to be a particular designation as a designer for a person to design anything. It's essentially solving a problem or coming up with a solution to whatever that you're
Solving a problem. Related. So you design to solve something. and solving a problem. When you're designing to solving the problem, what is the first thing to do? Identify the problem. Okay. Where do most of the startups fail?
Find a solution.
Not able to identify the right problem, or that's where if you get the right problem, then adoption becomes easy. So designing essentially, and that's very important to understand, it's about trying to solve something which is a problem, and in a digital world, we are essentially talking about experience and human experience. Okay. So let's see how we decide and define problems. Okay. So so when I have to get into empathy, the first step is to understand what a user, what a service or product means for a user. Get it clear? That will determine adoption. So let's understand now the process of how we create our meanings as humans. Understand that process. That's how I create my meaning. That's how everybody creates their meaning. And through NLP, we try to understand some of that. Okay. So here is whatever is the reality. How do we take in reality? What is our way of taking in reality? Through our senses. What are the senses? What are the 5 senses?
Eyes, ears,
Sight, audit, or visual, auditory,
taste,
yes, taste,
tactile,
gustatory is called, but yeah, taste, touch and feel, kinesthetic or touch and feel,
olfactory,
and
olfactory.
olfactory smell. So this is how we take in the reality. There is something known as reality which is happening out here. Okay. So let's do a quick activity. Close your eyes. All of you close your eyes. And for the next 60 seconds, I want you to focus completely only on the sounds you hear. Focus completely on the sounds you hear. Open your eyes. What are the sounds that are available to you? AC of course, because I'm listening.
There was a click.
There was a click. How many of you heard that click? Some of you heard it. What else? So when you raise your hand, that will be like this. Please.
Somebody talking.
Somebody cough in between. Yeah, that is what it was.
Your voice.
Huh?
Your voice.
But that's only now. At that time,
Your voice. Your voice.
I could hear my voice when in those 60 seconds.
Yes, you spoke.
I spoke. Okay. To begin with, start with.
Some
So
footsteps.
there was some footstep, there was a click here, okay, there was a beat. So in any given instant, and we are talking only of one sense, not of the other 4 senses. At any given time, there is so much amount of information that is available to you. Research says that it's almost 2+ million bytes of data is available in any given instant. I'm talking of all the senses. So already when we start taking data in from our senses, already we see that the first level of deletion is happening. The first level of, so we start losing, whether it's auditory, whether it's 2 millimeters of the brain also has a capacity of almost say 7 to 9 bytes plus minus is the capacity of the brain. So we are already losing data here. So when we take data in from the senses, after that, we apply, all of us, 3 universal modeling processes. And we'll talk about what those 3 universal modeling processes are. The first process is known as generalization. What is generalization?
Classification.
Something which we generalize, okay? Like snakes are dangerous.
Like I said, a click. I did not say it's a camera click or something. I said it's a click. Can be anything.
That, yeah, but that's just a little specific about what you heard. But generally, have you heard of people who have had one bad experience of speaking and then they say, I'm not a good speaker. And for example, even in tech, electricity will harm. These are all generalizations. So we use a lot of generalizations in our life very, very naturally. Okay, generalizations, have you said people, when people use words like always, people use words like never, they are generalizations. Okay, a child grows up, a boy, and the boy says, boys don't cry. Have you heard of that? Boys don't cry, men don't cry. That's generalization. All our beliefs are in fact examples of generalization. Okay? सच की हमेशा जीत होती है. Generalization. Who knows? Has everybody looked at all the such in the world and all the suches always one? But so all our beliefs are generalizations that we have built for ourselves. Now, are generalizations good or bad? Depends. They are also good. For example, what is it? I need to talk about neuroplasticity. Generalization is a pathway that has been created. So when I am walking in the corridor, going to my hotel room with a friend of mine, okay, I come upon the door and I am talking to him. What will you do? There is a knob. I will try and either push in. If it isn't going, I can pull up. Otherwise, I slide it. None of that happens. Then I try to stop my talk and see something. Otherwise, I am talking and it's going on. So I already created a door, means either I have to push out, push in, or slide. All of that doesn't happen, then I stop my conversation, see, kuch to gadbad. So if you didn't have generalizations, like this, that would have been very difficult, right? Every morning you don't want to get up in the morning and then see how to brush your teeth. Okay. Of course, nowadays you can tell Alexa, okay. And some days Alexa will start brushing your teeth as well for you, never know. Okay. But Alexa, tell me how to brush, and you will brush it. But those, they form. So generalizations are neural pathways that are created by default, your default wiring. Beliefs become your default wiring. They become true for you, whether they are true or not true. So generalization is the first step. We start creating generalizations. We speak generalizations, we build those generalizations for ourselves, we create our beliefs. That's the first step in generalization. The second process is deletion. Okay. So can you all look up? So we go here. Can you tell me what is the color of my shoes? You can look down here, you don't have to worry. But is that data available to you here, at least for those people? But you are deciding not to take that. Those clicks were available, that machine was available. Probably for the last 2 minutes you have forgotten the AC ka noise also. The noise is there. But you are choosing to focus on my noise and deleting that noise. So any example of focus is an example of delay. When I focus, there are so many things available on in the environment, but I choose not. Now, any of this process, if it happens by choice, it is fine, right? You don't need to listen to this, you don't need to know my color of my shoe, it doesn't matter. But how many of our deletions happen inadvertently? Was that data in the environment which was needed for me, which I not able to look at? And that is why they say when you say design thinking, you just don't have an interview, you also use observation. Because the user, when he narrates, may be deleting things which according to him is not important. And no matter how deeply empathize and you have an interview and how brilliant your questions are, if the user has chosen to delete that, you will never get it. And that's why they say you also have to do picture ethnography and some of the to ensure that probably some of this process is happening. So deletion is the second process, and we always keep on doing that. The third process is distortion. What is distortion? The simplest example of painting, for example. Painting is a distortion of reality. Can a painting capture everything which is there in that environment? No. Affirmations are distortions. Okay, I am feeling healthy, I am feeling healthy, I am feeling rich, I am feeling rich. Distortion. Okay. हकीकत में तो प्रॉब्लम है बैंक में लोन चुकता करना है वगैरह वगैरह, but affirmations are distortion. But then in a positive way. So we all cannot, and for example, and it's not possible. And distortions are essential part because if I take, for example, a map. Okay, what is a map? A map in that sense is a distortion of a territory. The territory is the real thing. Now, if I take the entire territory, it will not make it humanly possible to comprehend. If I take on a scale of 1 to 1, even in this position, I can't make sense of it. So I create a distortion of it depending upon what is important for me. But does that mean other things don't exist in reality? They do exist. Distortion is my map of that matter, of the territory, based on what I want to comprehend. Sometimes I do it by design, like I do it when I do affirmation. Sometimes it happens. So when this is the reality, the first thing you do is through the senses, where we already start losing out depending upon what our focus is. And all of us, our 5 senses are not strong. A couple of senses will be strong, the others would not be strong. Okay, so you start losing data here, and then we apply and we use the 3 universal modeling process. Based on that, then we use this forms our perception, our map of reality. So here is the reality. This is my map of reality. And how do I express my expression? Using, how do I, if you had a great experience, tell me about the last, you used language. This, what comes out is what we are dealing as a so-called experience. Now you see, what is the reality and how a user is narrating his experience. And see, can you see the amount of filters that start coming? So when I am narrating an experience, what I am doing? I am not talking of reality. I say, this is real. Real for whom?
For the specific
Real for the person. That is that person's reality. And I have my map. So it's not just about the user, it's about every human being, right? She has her map, I have my map. This, in your terms, is the shoe you want to get in. And you have your shoe, which also has all of this. Now you see why empathy is, everybody talks, but so difficult due to the challenge. Make sense? Yeah, please.
There's one more thing which kind of adds to this, the situation, the context.
Tell me.
Again, you will respond differently or interpret things differently, experience things differently in a given situation. It's like, usually what happens is that I'm living in a good city, but it's an everyday reality. I go and visit suddenly I see a lot of beauty, right, in another city because I'm on a holiday. The situation is different. My perception, I think, so all these filters, while they are there, the situation has changed and therefore the interpretation is very different.
So what is the situation? Situation is nothing but the map that I am creating for myself. How do I form my perception in a given situation? Context, my context is formed through all of this. Essentially my context creation or my perception about the context is formed by this. The situation comes from whatever has been my map of the world. That is how, when I form a perception about a situation, my perception is essentially passing through these filters. I go to a new place which is very clean. I am taking information here. And then I am filtering it through some of my beliefs and my values, which are either here or here. And I go to Paris and I say, what a beautiful city, so clean. Why? Because as a tourist, I am only visiting the clean places. Does that mean? I am sure Paris will also have its alleys. Likely. Right? But I am visiting them and I am deleting that. And I am creating a generalization that India में हम लोग हैं ना कभी नहीं सुधरेंगे. You are seeing how we create our map? That is my map. It has passed from all these things. Now is that the reality? सुधरे हुए इंडियंस नहीं है? नहीं है but वो आपके साथ पेरिस यूरोप में भी
serious distortion.
serious distortion. We do this on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis. Makes sense? I hope something didn't make sense.
Can I just have a question?
Sure, please.
When you said that there's somebody else's shoe and we are trying to fit into that person's shoe as a part of our.
What is empathy? Not trying to fit it into the other person's shoes. Can you fit it into somebody else's shoes? And try to get into the shoes and understand that one.
Right. So what I was wondering is sometimes we don't get to start what the other person's experience is from scratch, but we start from
So come in.
listening from other person's
Can you come in?
experience.
Can you come in? Let's do it. Can you come in? And just a minute. Let's understand this process. Let's see. And always to understand the process, always to understand it by doing it. Okay? Breathing. So you have to get into my shoes. Yeah. Okay. Literally. Forget all this. Okay. Okay. Theory. Okay. How will you get into my shoes?
Literally, right?
Literally.
Ask me to remove your
Chetan. हाँ. Okay. One सवाल. अच्छा ठीक है चलो. Let's not get into it. Okay. I remove my shoes.
And I'll remove my shoes and I'll get it.
Get it. Let's do it. This is the process. Now I can get into my shoes. Okay. Clear? Is there any other way of getting into somebody's shoes? Any other way? So what is needed when you want to get into somebody's shoes?
Yes,
Most different things doesn't come easy. Is to move out of it.
That too, my question was okay.
I'll come to that. I'll come to that question. I'll come to your question of listening. I'll just give me a minute.
I believe that sometimes the process can become reverse as well.
I will. That's exactly what I'm coming to. That's exactly what I'm doing. So what is? I have to. So I am operating well. He is operating from his mat, his shoe. I am operating from my mat. Now if I have to get into somebody's shoes, what I will do first? Get out of my shoe. If I don't get out of my map of the world, my beliefs, my values, my system, and I try to get into other shoes, what I'm going to feel? Only my shoe. I'm going to think as if I am in the other person's shoes. What am I forming? I'm only sensing my shoe. So if I have to get into other person's shoes, what I have to do? I have to get out and enter his map, and through his map, come back. And there is tool for that, as meta model is a tool for that. You don't have time to do that, but we use meta model. That may mean, if you done then sometimes chunking up. That may mean, if you hear that, sometimes abductive thinking. What you are essentially doing is getting out of your map, trying to enter his map. And the first step is even for language. And there are certain things which will be possible in language, certain things will not be possible in language. Okay. How many of you have been to Hyderabad? Oh, a lot of. Okay. What is famous about Hyderabad? Biryani. Okay. But have you ever been to the pista house there and tasted the Jafrani biryani? Next time you go to Hyderabad, you taste the Jafrani biryani of pista house. But you have to explain that experience of Jafrani biryani of pista house. Can I all explain to you? जुबान में जब तक आपकी जाफरानी बिरयानी आएगी नहीं, और जिस दिन if any of you have gone to Hyderabad, pista house and tasted जाफरानी बिरयानी, you immediately know हाँ sir. So language also has its limitations. Sometimes you have to take the person through the experience. But for many, except for some of these cases, the language is your tool to get into the other person's question. Always. Has there been a dog who has never bitten you? So your first step is, do you even realize these patterns when people talk? For example, when people use words like always, never, should, you should always go on time for a session. When you hear words like that, they are your cues. To start, what if I don't go on time? They are your cues. Okay, when somebody is deletions. Again, very good examples of deletions as mentioned are things which a person may not, again, generalizations will again be your inputs to find out what is it that the person is doing. So languages are always tools for you, okay, to get into, get on this, and then from there you start going. And when you come to senses, it becomes difficult. So at least one level of deciphering you can. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Does it answer your question?
Correct.
So listening, so essentially what I am beginning to realize after so many years is there are essentially only two basic skills you need to have. One is the skill of asking powerful questions, the other is the skill of listening.
This is also your generalization.
They are general. So true. So true. You see, so naturally you do that. There is no generalization. But are you aware of that? If you are doing by choice, it's fine. Problem happens when we do any of these processes inadvertently, when it becomes my default behavior. Then sometimes there will be things in the ecosystem which are necessary for me and I delete them or I generalize. What happens in generalization? There could be other possibilities. So what happens in this case? There may be a third skill which I miss out because I am saying there are only two skills. If I work with that awareness, I may go into that and then I may discover a third skill. But if I am not going with the awareness, then I will live all my life thinking yehi do skill.
For example, the third skill could be meditation. So because it clears your mind to listen, and at the same time it is something that, okay, of all the questions that I have asked, it digests, just letting something go can,
Do you get into the spiral of listening or empathizing somebody on an emotional or a deeper level, which goes kind of in that zone?
So give me an example. Give me a live example.
Like, for example, like especially in a product building scenario where you are listening to your users or customers, and the generalization happens quite a lot of times. Like it might be a case of 1 or 2 times, but it has been generalized कि you never deliver, or it's always
Or it may just listen last 2 months में हुआ होगा, and that's what is.
And then when you actually you do empathize, okay, you're trying to solve a problem for them, and they must be having their own pain points, and especially what I've experienced in the product scenario is like you get into their problems, but the goals that you have, or the goals that you might have for your product, or the vision that you might have are kind of okay taking a back seat because you are trying to solve somebody's or somebody else's problem which might not align to yours. In this particular scenario, is there a good way, or then should there be a line, or should, like as a designer, should you say, okay, I am not going to go down that path, but not feel, okay, I have not been a good designer or a good product builder on that path? Like, is there a way to, I don't know, a
You
separate
have something
filter?
to add, or that's a different question?
No, it's related to that. How you put boundaries of your own identity,
How do you put boundaries of your?
own and other person's identity.
My God. Okay. So we will not get into identity and stuff that can be boring. But there's, and I come to your question also. So if you see, there is always what we call in NLP, there is a deep structure. And I'll come to your question as well. And there is a surface structure. Where do we generally operate from? When I say means I or you, all of us. Tendency is to operate from the surface structure. What this process does is take you to the deep structure. Why do we go to the deep structure? Because that's where the solutions, chance of a solution lies here. Surface structure is where I am operating from my views, you are operating from your views, and you may say that Modi is a progressive guy, I may say no, Modi is a marketing hype. And there is no, you can have your reasons, I can have reasons. Till we don't find some way of going here, and then there may be some things which may come out. Okay. So, when you get into identity, identity are about our beliefs, identity are about values. Okay. You can't solve that till you don't get into the deeper structure. You can't get into the real need. So, there is a problem that a user has for which you are trying to design, and there is a need that the user wants to meet. What do we talk about? What is the problem, whether it's business or it's human? So what? So customer may say that my revenue is falling, or my market share is declining, or I am having a high customer attrition. Or if we have a headache, we go to a doctor and say, I have a headache. Or I have fever. Now what is headache? What is fever? What is loss of market share?
Symptoms.
They are manifestation of a problem. But when you meet somebody, whether it's in business or human, we'll always talk about the pain always lies there. Now if you go to a good doctor, if you go to a chemist, what will the chemist do? He will say, मेरे पास सेरेडॉन है या एनासिन जो भी है ले लो, सर दर्द दूर हो जाएगा, दूर भी हो सकता है. But what could be the reasons for headache? Multiple, right? Vision, acidity, lack of sleep. If it is due to lack of sleep and you continue to not sleep, what is going to happen? If it is due to acidity and you continue to have wrong food, it's going to come back again. The risk for any designer, and that what at least we see in my world, is the moment customer opens a problem and says, you know, I am having a lot of attrition. I may need to start thinking solution. हाँ मेरा ये product बना रहा हूँ, मैं attrition address करता हूँ. But why is he having a customer attrition? Can I take the user from the problem to the need? And then see. So you need to have whatever empathy you say, till I don't take him to the need. If I try to design something without taking the user from the problem to the need, then my design may not address the right thing. So what level of empathy I may not be able to go there, but am I able to, and till that time, I have to keep what is my understanding of need and my understanding of solution out of it. That is what means getting out of your shoes in empathy. The biggest challenge in empathy is I always go having a solution or an idea in mind. When does the idea come in? After I have defined. What is definition or POV? Is I have taken the user from the problem to the need. And that is, as I said, most difficult thing is in getting out of our shoes. How can I keep my idea, my solution, my thought till I don't take the user from the problem to the need? Then if I don't do that, and whatever percentage of empathy I wouldn't say, 2 or less, but if I have arrived at the need, then I start. Till that time, I keep my solution, keep my idea. That's why most startups fail. Why? Because I have read something, I have found something, okay, and the biggest thing that corporates do, okay, 5G is a 120 trillion, some obnoxious number somebody will say, is a $300 billion market. Even if I get 5%, we will still have 20 million or billion, something like that. And then we start creating ideas and plans around that. We look at some market study, some market survey, which says that everybody is moving from ownership-based economy to a usage-based economy, and by 2025 you'll have all of these surveys which will that 10-20% of 80% of the population will not have a car. So I would let me design something for them. Now I have problem in my mind, सब कुछ सोचा. Now I'm trying to do user interview. First of all, and that's why you see in when you're doing experience where market surveys, this data can be your biggest engineering challenge. So I have to keep that out. When I'm sitting with the user, I have to only go through this process, and this process will help me take it from the problem to the need. If I go to the need, then I move to ideation. So I don't know whether that answers your question, but that much of it till that time. So I don't know whether, as they say, there is nothing like a more or less communication. Probably there is nothing like a more or less empathy. There is empathy.
But what you're basically pointing to is that you have to get deeper into understanding. So, like for example, the Japanese do this series of whys. Why to get into it.
5 whys is a good technique.
Yeah, something
5
like
whys is a good technique. Of course, as a concept, every time you start, there are you say why people also. So how you ask the why is also important. Okay. But as a concept, I agree. As a concept, that's why a 5 why and never stop at 5 why. When you are doing empathy and then moving into here, 5 why and 1 inch. The how is always a good question.
Another question I had was that could this be okay? Also, of course, one is that you've not explored the deeper, whys. The other thing is that it could also be because there is only one user that you're talking to, so you don't have. So he's distorting. He's like pulling it in his direction completely, right? And you don't have enough number of users to say, look, this is, get
I remember Manoj telling me that probably you have to speak to 100 users to find 5 people who are.
Yeah, so in a service business, this is something that can happen. You are serving one customer, he's saying whatever he wants to, and distorting that thing.
Absolutely.
It becomes much harder.
So you, in a digital age, if you are talking to your customer and designing a service, then trust me, okay, you are in for a lot of surprises. And then, your adoption, you'll be lucky if your adoption is. And that's one of the reasons why user adoption is so poor. Because if I take in IT, how it has been happening so far in IT, okay, I have got a customer in Canada for whom I am designing some application. My team is designers sitting out here in Hinjawadi, 3-4 years experience from college, out of college, okay. Never probably ever been to Canada. Don't even understand that. And they're designing something. Okay, we have a hot house. Everybody comes in. User is in minus 40 degrees in some remote part of Canada. If you use that service. The Hinjawadi guy को minus 40 सोच भी नहीं सकता. Forget Hinjawadi. Have you heard of this guy? I'm sure you have heard of this guy. If you have not heard the name, Wangchuk. Sonam Wangchuk. So I had an opportunity to hear him again in April. He was talking about. He says, forget global solution. He says, what to design in Delhi or Bombay. Half the time doesn't even work for Delhi and Bombay. And you're talking of Ladakh at 13,000 feet at minus so. It doesn't work. Not just physical products. He's talking about the same thing. Even the textbooks don't work. And he was talking about this problem of why in Ladakh they were having 0% pass in the SSC. He says F for fan. It doesn't know what is fan. उसको समझ में नहीं आता फैन क्या है. ना टीचर ने देखा है ना स्टूडेंट ने देखा है. अब टीचर पढ़ा रहा है F for fan. S for ship. Ship कहाँ लड़ा ship समझ में नहीं आता उसको. So he said forget products and services. And he said forget within India, forget global. Why? Because we are operating in my shoe, That person's map is very different. I have not even understood that person's map. And I am thinking I have designed a great solution. and a great service. Will not work. Adoption will be poor. Make sense? So I think the time is up. I know. We can take a question or two more if you want. Okay? It's a fascinating topic. Very, very fascinating topic. There's a tool, something known as a meta model. You can go and see. Meta model is one of the tools, very powerful tool of how you take somebody from the map closer to reality. You can never take to reality, as I said, if the person is not, especially senses. At least यहाँ तक तो ला सकते हो. ये तो आप डिटेक्ट कर सकते हो लैंग्वेज को. इसको तो सेंस चाहिए. जाफरानी बिरयानी, जाफरानी बिरयानी. Okay, I can't explain you anything.
Currently, there is a word to express that called awesome.
Awesome.
Universal word.
That's the option.
Your awesome, my awesome is very different. I don't understand awesome. When I sit as an NLP coach, I don't understand awesome. I need to know कि लोग वो जब खाते हैं ना तो इतना जुबान पे ऐसा saliva. No, when saliva comes, that is physical. I can understand that. You know, रोंगटे खड़े हो जाते हैं. तो कुछ ऐसा लगता है कि जैसे कुछ याद नहीं आता. Now I can relate something. Awesome, I can relate. Beautiful, I can relate. You are beautiful, my beautiful is very different. How can you break it down to something which you can observe, touch, feel, see? Anything which you can touch, feel, see is that person's. No use. Anyway, it's a fascinating topic, but hope it was a sadly well spent. Okay. And thanks so much.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, please. We can take questions.
So, I think you mentioned a really interesting point when you were explaining duration. So, from a researcher's perspective, I want to ask you this question.
I know there are more interesting point than one, but I'll take yours.
Yeah. So, you mentioned how the user has the power to withhold information, right? Like whenever he's expressing himself, he'll delete whatever he wants and express himself in a way which is which he's comfortable with. So as a researcher, or when you're trying to talk to your user and try to empathize with them, how is it that you eliminate, or rather, let's say, eliminate is too strong a word, and how do you decrease the amount of information that they can withhold?
So, one is you have to use multiple tools, and I wouldn't say that as a power. That happens as an unconscious process. All of us believe as an unconscious process. So it may not be that he may do it deliberately. If there is deliberate, there is a different way. But there are tools, and that's why you say why market surveys are pathetic. Why interviews will not be enough. You have to have multiple. That's why you have to use something like observation. Right. For example, my laptop is not correct. There was this Turian company which came into India. They wanted to design refrigerators for the lower middle class. And they said the lower middle class is the right segment, because for the lower middle class, still a refrigerator is a what they say. Not just luxury, it's a pride. It's an upgrade. Aspiration. Yeah, aspiration. That's right. It's an aspiration. Now, if you go and ask anybody, what are the factors you consider before you design, before you buy a refrigerator? What would be some of the things that will come? What would be some of the things? What are the factors we consider when we when we decide to purchase a refrigerator? Budget, consumption, space, lifetime, durability, all of that. Okay? So they do all of that. Then they went to lower Indian middle class countries and they photographed. I don't know the collage, unfortunately, will take time. But they put all those photos up. One very interesting insight came up. That on every refrigerator, top of every refrigerator, there's something or the other always. Now, no matter how empathic interview you have, would you have ever captured that requirement that refrigerator के ऊपर भी रखने को आना चाहिए? And they realized that then I have to keep my top flat, it has to be sturdy, things should not slip. Because every single photo made it very clear that वो कुछ तो ऊपर mixer रखा है, कहीं पे boxes रखे हैं. Because lower middle class space is a challenge. In my refrigerator, okay, I'm smiling now. हमारे refrigerator में भी रखे हुए चीजें. She always keeps stuff there. So that's how it is. Will that have come out in your empathy? So you have to use multiple tools. Like picture it. Okay. Another very powerful thing is metaphors. Get people to talk metaphors. When you capture a metaphor, you won't talk in metaphors. When we talk, we always use metaphors. Metaphors may tell us what that thing means to me, even if I don't spell it out. Okay. Tell me a metaphor. I don't know, I'm just trying to see if there's a metaphor for Japanese biryani. Japanese biryani is stuck in my mind.
That is a better
That's a metaphor.
Something you cannot express.
Something you can't express. That's a metaphor. A metaphor will tell you what it means for that. A very powerful thing. Metaphor. In your research. The metaphor, picture, ethnography, very powerful. Okay. Thanks, Manoj is getting restless. Thank you so much. Thank you. It was fun being here. Thank you so much.
well, not a thanks to you.
Oh wow. Thank you so much. Thank you. My pleasure.